And welcome everyone to another exciting journey on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and today's guest is an amazing guest. We've been talking backstage and have a lot of great information to bring forth for you all. And so I am so honored and blessed to have her on the show as a guest. And fingers crossed because she gave me the pronunciation of her name. So I'm hopeful it's still in my brain and will come forth. I've been practicing it. So here we go. I give you the one, the only empathic quantum extraordinaire, Anja Zubair.
Almost.
Almost.
It's Anya, yeah, but
Anja.
yeah, almost there, but all good. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, welcome to the show and thank you for being a guest.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
And so, for those who may not be familiar with you, your journey, and your work, do you mind giving a brief explanation or introduction, so to speak?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what can I tell? So human brains usually, it's like, okay, what was before and what is now? Yeah. So I can say I was a corporate recruiter, corporate headhunter, and today I'm an energy activator, a purpose mentor. I support empaths to transform their sensitivity into superpower. And I'm also recovered people pleaser. I was a massive, massive people pleaser. So, yeah, and I like to talk about that. So, I'm looking forward to today.
I have to say, I used to be a people pleaser too, and I somewhat, I will admit, when I first started as a podcast host, was a people pleaser because I thought that's what I had to be to make the show work. And so, yeah, why do you think it is that people easily fall into that trap of people pleasing?
Because we were taught that it's nice to be kind, we have to be kind. And between kindness and people pleasing, it's a very, very thin line. Because when people they don't have their own strong personal boundaries, they can really deplete their energy, and they can get surrounded with a lot of people who are just taking, and they're just giving, and at the end, like, you are left with nothing. And I also teach people that you cannot pour out of an empty cup. So, kindness, being kind based on your essence, when you know that you are a good person, that you are a kind person, and you are overflowing with everything, and you are being kind and you are helping others, is completely different than when you are struggling, when your cup is empty and you think that you have to help others because you're supposed to, that's completely different energy. So yeah, I used to be I used to be the one that was doing everything for everyone, just to be liked, just to be accepted, just to belong somewhere. But I'm not doing that anymore, and my life is so much better now.
Well, good. And for people who may not be aware that they are in the people pleasing mode, what do you feel like are some signs that if you notice these patterns, yeah, you're in the people pleasing program and
Yeah.
you need to get out?
Well, recently I wrote this article about 5 shadows of empaths. Because empaths and highly sensitive people, like, we really feel a lot. And sometimes we feel things that they are not ours, but we just, we take as they are ours. So, um, 5 shadows of empaths. Yeah. First is definitely escaping into fantasy world. When something is yeah, when something is not wrong, but when something is hard in our life, and we are on the spiritual path, and we see things, we feel things, and we start escaping in different realities, in different dimensions. And then the second one is yeah, lack of boundaries. Then the third one is really this people pleasing. People pleasing, that means that you are practically, that you are putting everyone else before you. Yeah, like you, I'm not gonna go into this conclusion that, oh my god, you don't love yourself. It's not, I mean, it is, in essence it is, because if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anyone else. Yeah, that is the fact. You cannot love anyone else because you don't have the capacity to love anyone else if you do not love yourself. So people pleasing is just saying yes, 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 because you think you have to say yes, or like because you want that people like you, that people accept you, that people say, hey, you belong here. you know um so people pleasing is a very, very sneaky thing, because like I said, between kindness and people pleasing, it's a very, very thin line. So when people do that, they usually start doing that in relationships. They say yes, even though like their body is saying no. Like you feel that you don't want to do something, but you say yes because like you don't want to be, you don't want that people say, oh, he's so mean, or rude, or yeah, yeah, you don't want to offend anyone, or you don't want that people think something bad about you. So that's why you're saying yes. And on the other hand, in working environments, you are saying yes, yes, yes. You are, accepting projects, or you are just, staying quiet when people are putting down, or like when, they are talking shit or whatever. So all this is people pleasing, and all this is destroying our soul. And I'm here to, yeah, to raise awareness about that, because I used to be like that. And it nearly destroyed me, but it didn't, because I'm still here.
No, and I'm glad it is. And I'm noticing, is that a Merkaba behind you?
It is. Yeah, it
Okay,
is. And this one is my own. So that one I didn't paint. This one I bought, but this one I painted.
very cool. It's almost like this flower of life mixed with a bunch of other self love.
Hmm.
I've always heard people talk about self love, and yes, this is how you have to heal this and, find your inner self love and bring that about. But I've also heard of like radical forgiveness, but I've never heard the term radical self love.
Yeah, this term came through very recently. I mean, I've been on this journey, self-discovering, and how can I say, self-fulfillment journey for quite a while now. And also, plant medicines and different sessions and mentors and coaches and, teachers, and a lot of information, a lot of experiences in very different levels, very different dimensions. But when we really get back to the fact that, hey, we are fractal of God, you know, we are consciousness experiencing itself, and we are perfect just the way we are. Just the way we are. There's absolutely nothing wrong with us. Nothing. Because everything that we think it's wrong with us, we've been told. Somebody told us. Yeah, they like, we've been taught like, hey, your, I don't know, root chakra is blocked, or hey, you don't have abundance because of that, you don't have partner because of that, you don't have this because of that. And then at some point it's just like, fuck off. You know, it's okay whatever you're saying, but it's like I don't have to accept it. So this is like radical self-love, that you really put yourself in the center of your own universe, and you say, I'm perfect. I'm absolutely perfect just the way you are. I mean, I am. And my work here is really to experience life. I don't know what's going to happen because I don't have the script. Like, I don't know the script, by, like, how do you say it? Like, I didn't remember all the script. Like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I have everything what life throws at me, like to me, as a gift. I don't know, but I just take it as an experience. I mean, I'm learning now to really take it as an experience. So, yeah, the bottom line is there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. Each and everyone who is now on planet Earth. And we are in this together. And, it's playing one role. Like we are pieces of the puzzles for each other and for collective or whatever. um and we are perfect, we are just perfect, but we are figuring out, we are figuring out our roles, and all the dynamics and all the information, and like energies, like everything we are figuring out, we are remembering, but there's nothing wrong with us.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up because I was just thinking in my mind, and seeing how, the world we used to be in is not the world we're in today. And one of the aspects that I was, like seeing in my mind as you were talking about that is, we had the view of the models like in the 80s, 90s, where it's like toothpick. They have to look this way. Now you get models and they're like any size, any shape are models now. And it's like, oh, we've broken that mold. And I'm like, wow, I wonder how many people realize that that mold is was something else and was putting people in harm's way because they were told you have to stay this and you have to be this, and now the world is nope, now you can do whatever, and this is the new human look apparently. And so it's going along with what you're saying about loving the self is we don't have that 80s version of we have to starve ourselves to fit the mold to be what everybody is like, this is what we're supposed to look like, to where now we're kind of more free to, like, if you want to eat a burger and go model a bathing suit, you can do that. It's not a, oh my god, you're going to lose your career anymore kind of world, or at least it appears that way.
Yeah, but it's also, there's a next level. Again, I'm not going to go into details with this, but it's radical self-love is really accepting everything about being a human. Everything. So, for example, you go to the bathroom, and this is like not, in society, like in public, it's not really desire to talk about, oh, how I'm going to the bathroom or whatever. Like we like we are human, that's completely normal, but who said that this is wrong, or like who's it's not appropriate, to speak, to show, to whatever? It's like, come on, you see, this is radical self-love, to really really accept on all levels who you are, because we are here now as human beings, and we are freaking perfect. And just ask, like, what is wrong? Like, nothing is wrong. We're just figuring out like why we are, different from each other. And like, I have this gift, you have that gift, I have this, you have that, I look like that, you look like that. But that doesn't mean that something is wrong or right, you know so in my perspective, again, I'm sharing my perspectives, like based on my experiences, based, like in the world I live in. That doesn't mean that everybody else needs to see how I see it. But yeah, I'm so not gonna shut up about my perspectives,
No,
especially if somebody asks me.
yeah, I am interested in your perspectives, and I'm kind of wondering when you were, going along your path and on your journey, what, how did the unfolding of where you are today start, and what was the impact, on you? Was it like, oh my gosh, traumatic, or was it like just woke up and was like, hey, I have a new way of thinking. This is how it's going to work. And it unfolded.
Uh, wow. Okay. I mean, hmm, as long as I remember, like when I was, a little girl, I was always interested in space. Always, always, always. So, that was kind of one sign that, like, oh, I was like dreaming, oh my God, like a spaceship will come and they will pick me up and they will take me back home, because there were like this series, like TV shows. Do you remember Alf? I don't know if you had
Yes.
it. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
like the gray, I mean the brown creature that lived with that family. So yeah, we were we were watching that, and
He
that was
always
kind of
wanted to eat the cat.
exactly, yeah. The one wanted to eat a cat. So, but okay, that was like when I was really really young. But when it started, it was like I think it was 2005. And that was really interesting experience. Now when I look back, there were probably different signs even before that. But in 2005, I kind of ended up in the summer job in England when I was selling books door to door. And it was kind of a weird story how I ended up there. But anyway, it's like I ended up there, like, first of all, like we had this training camp, like a boot camp, uh 1 week before they sent us out, before we actually went knocking on doors. So it was like a week of training. And they picked us up every morning. They took us to this warehouse and they were like brainwashing us. It's like what you have to say, like when they open the door, how like you have to lean in, you have to put your foot like in between doors so they don't close it, like all this psychology, like NLP blah 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 crap. And like, oh my gosh, like so much brainwashing. And after a week, nothing really stand with me. Like I was like, okay, I have no idea what we were just doing, because like it wasn't really natural for me. So I wasn't really, I wasn't really absorbing it. A lot of people around me, they were like robots. Yeah, they were like, yeah, let's go, let's go knocking on doors, let's sell some books. So I went out. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, and I went out. I went, knocking on doors, and I was really surprised what happened next, because I mean I didn't understand it back then, but like when they opened the door, I could feel everything what they were feeling. So I felt their, sometimes their anger, despise, like they were like, who the fuck are you? Blah, blah, blah. Some they were nice, but annoyed, because like I was in a very specific area, where we were like in this very, very little English town. Um, so yeah, it wasn't really fun to do that. And after a week or so, or 2 weeks, like my body collapsed because it was just too much. I didn't even understand what was happening. Today, I know that I'm a powerful empath and I can feel everything, and I felt everything back then. And so yeah, that was pretty crazy experience. So my body collapsed, and I kind of like, after a week later or something like that, I stopped. I started doing something else. But one time I was on MySpace, so on my laptop, and I was editing MySpace. And editing my profile name, and the question was, okay, what should be my profile name? What should be my profile? What should be my username? And this very, very distinct voice, I heard it, in my head. Anya, you are free spirit. You are free spirit. I was like, what does that even mean? I have no idea. But I started using it. And you see, yeah, I'm still using it. But yeah, that kind of opened up a lot of stuff, because like I wasn't really aware what was actually happening, but I was like, I became more and more rebellious. Like I really didn't fit in, in all the frames, like society frames, or later also, in education and stuff like that. And then 2017, I mean, even before, a lot of stuff happened, but 2017 I had my first past life regression. And after that, yeah, that was like one message that was really connected to people pleasing, so because I always lived by this rule: I am happy when I see other people happy around me. So I'm happy when I can make other people happy. Yeah, that makes me really, really extremely happy when when I'm the reason, that other people are happy. And the message that I got from my guides and like on the other side was, yeah, that's not gonna work. This is not sustainable. This is, you have to change that. And I had no idea, again, what does that mean. But soon I realized, because like my life started collapsing, my life started crumbling, my health, my friends, my work, my everything, my relationship, everything fell apart. So I was, I don't know, I wasn't really using the word healing. I started kind of using word healing when I started with sacred medicines, when I started with plant medicines. That was like in 2023, I think, something like that. um but yeah, it was it was a lot, because there was a lot of awareness, but you know that with awareness you have to also integrate and embody. So I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea why things were happening, what they were happening. I found myself in very, very different and like difficult situations, and also all the pain, all the patterns from my childhood came up to the surface. I didn't know how to deal with that. Um, I knew that, I had like very distant relationship with my mom, but I thought like, this is how it is. Like you cannot really change that. But today I know that you can, because when you change your own inner world, when you change your own energy, the world around you starts changing. And this is what is happening now. And I have the best relationship that I ever had with my mom now today, and I'm so grateful for that. And with my ex-partner as well, I'm a mom, I have 11-year-old son. So yeah, relationship and like my personal relationships and career, like these were like two main areas where my people pleasing, was, yeah, the strongest. And when you see that, you have to face it. Yeah, and I faced it, and I faced the shadows, and now I can talk about it.
No, and I'm grateful for that. And you mentioned in, was it 2023, finding plant medicines. What guided you to plant medicine? Was it you couldn't do mainstream medicine, or was it something else that you were like, the plants have what I need. Let's go to the plants.
I was always against it. Always. I never, because I never took anything. I mean, okay, when, we were studying, yeah, of course, we smoked weed and, stuff like that. But otherwise, never, never, never anything like drugs or anything. So, In 2022, I finished my Heart Math Institute certification. So I became a certified trainer for a Heart Math Institute for activating the heart of teams. And I learned a lot, in a very scientific way, the power of our heart. And at the same time, when I was learning this scientific fact about the heart, the power of our heart, the power of collective intention and collective heart energy field, a collective field, like how everybody's contributing to the collective. um Also, on this path, also really really interesting stuff started happening, like altered state of consciousness, even before plant medicine. Yeah, like when I had, for example, past life regression, that was kind of the first thing. But then it's just started like dreams, and I started seeing things, feeling things, you know like really really perceiving different dimensions. And then in 2023, I think it was 2023, yeah, I got invited to a group MDMA session. So that was kind of my first experience. And oh my gosh, that was incredible because like for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, I was just like, dancing around. I was like, I'm love, I'm light, I'm free spirit, I'm love, I'm light, I'm free spirit. I was like in complete bliss, it was, oh, this is amazing. And yeah, when you experience something like that, you want more. So I started doing it regularly. But of course, when you start digging in your subconscious, sooner or later, yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff comes to the surface. So yeah, a lot of very very unpleasant things also came to the surface. And then I went deeper, at the same time, like I went deeper deeper deeper, and more and more things came up to the surface. And it was MDMA, and then psilocybin, and then it was one time ayahuasca, and then one time San Pedro, and in the end it was bufo. Yeah, bufo. So it was pretty intense, but I don't regret anything. Not that regret, but what I learned from all this, it's all about integration. It's all about integration. Like whatever you see on these journeys, like you see it for a reason. And this is like, you have to do something about it. Like when you face certain situation in your life, like in your physical life, yeah, like you can use the awareness that you got on these journeys. Sometimes like they make no sense. And I didn't understand, I didn't get everything, like what I was going through. But yeah, I kind of learned how to really observe myself, like how do I feel in certain situation, and really start regulating my nervous system, connecting to my heart, really being aware of my role in a collective field, and what I want. Yeah, like that was the main question, like, Anya, what do you want? Like what do you really want? And this is a question that a lot of people, they ask themselves, but they don't know the answer. So,
Very true. And I'm curious of all the plant type experiences that you were listing, like ayahuasca, San Pedro. Which one surprised you the most? What happened with it? And which
mm,
one kind of do you feel like had the biggest impact on you? The
oh my gosh.
experience.
Yeah, there were many. I mean, MDMA, I had quite a lot of like in 1 year, or like in 1 year and a half, I had, or 2 years, I had a lot of um sessions, with MDMA. So with ayahuasca, I only had one time. it was like I heard the calling and I went. So that was kind of interesting because I had this expectation, about it. Everybody were like, you have to prepare. You're gonna be, you're gonna throw up. Just bring a bucket, like bring extra clothes or whatever. And yeah, I did. I was like, really prepared. I brought everything with me, extra clothes, bucket, toilet paper, because you hear all these crazy stories about it. And when I took it, it was incredibly gentle. Like it was mind blowing because all the purging that was happening, it was happening through tears. I felt a lot. Yeah, I felt like because I was always a warrior, and I was like really, the tough one. Like I was really, and I could feel the edges, like like when you have the edges. So in when I was on ayahuasca journey, the edges started like smoothing, like they became more smooth. So like when everything, became softer, like my body was releasing a lot of that, tension, that power, or um that energy. So everything was purging through I was purging through tears. And that was kind of mind blowing. That was really, really surprising for me because I didn't expect that. That was quite beautiful. Yeah.
No, that's amazing, and it's amazing how you just it almost seems like stumbled into these experiences. It's not like you set out for them, and so that's really interesting too. And one thing I'm curious about is what was your awakening like to understanding dreams and seeing dreams in a new way?
Hmm. I still don't know. Sometimes, I mean, now I'm really aware that we just go away. So we are like astral traveling, in our dreams. So when I when I remember, I'm not doing that regularly, and I probably should, but it's like before I go to sleep, I'm like, okay, keep me safe wherever I will go, be grounded, and yeah, don't get caught up in, some weird dimensions or whatever. Because I know now that we are not alone. Yeah, we are surrounded with higher beings all the time. Um, but yeah, for example, today it's a really interesting question because today I actually I was dreaming, like my dreams were about my ability to remote view. Like it's so weird because I never thought about, oh yeah, I'm a remote viewer. Yeah, I never like identify myself with that. But in my dreams, like literally last night, I it's like I was looking through eyes, and it was dark, but then suddenly something opened and I was like in my dreams, oh, so I can go, okay, let's check it out, this situation, or let's check it out what this person is doing. Like it was so weird. So when I woke up, I was like, holy shit, that was real. Like, can I really do that? Or like I remember everything. So it's like, okay, let's see what unfolds from that. But yeah, um conscious dreams, I mean, I also had experience with is it like lucid dreaming? Yeah.
Yes.
Lucid, yeah. So basically, um I knew what I was doing. Yeah, like I could, I was making decisions in my dreams, and I could really, I was kind of guiding the flow of my dreams. But sometimes you just, yeah, you are just thrown into this crazy world or whatever story, and then in the morning it's like, okay, what the fuck, like I have no idea what happened, but it's like, yeah, okay, I'm good, I'm awake. So I cannot really say that I'm an expert in dreams or I have like complete control over them. um, but I know more about myself and about the process than, for example, I used to know, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something like that.
So when you look at dreams, do you look at like what's happening symbolically, or do you just look at it as experience and get the insight that way?
Both. Yeah, both. Sometimes, like when I feel there is some kind of meaning, there is, okay, there, it's some kind of symbolism, but otherwise, I'm not really looking for a meaning. It's like, oh my God, I saw this. Oh my God, now I have to look up, what does it mean? Like, I'm not really doing that. It's really just how I feel it. Like if I feel that they are carrying a message, it's like, okay, what is the message? That, I don't know, I ask my intuition, I ask my guides, or and I get an answer sooner or later. But it's really interesting when you wake up and you remember the dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that means that that they are real, that you were somewhere, that you were a part of it.
And I'm curious, what advice do you have for people around dreams that they either are the mindset, oh, because I had this dream, there's meaning and there's symbolism in there, so I gotta go look it up. Like seeing a wolf with a dragon. Oh, what does the wolf mean? What does the dragon mean? What is the symbology of them together? Versus just being present and it's an experience. You know,
Yeah.
how
I
people
think
will take everything to one extreme or the other. So, what advice do you have for people when looking at your dreams?
And I'm not going to say it's only about dreams, yeah, but for example, whenever we are observing something, we are observing through our own filters. And I usually let's see this example: a bee, yeah, the animal, the bee, yeah, flying from flower to flower. And for one person, a bee is like, oh my God, so cute, amazing, spiritual animal. Oh my God, incredible, incredible. Yeah. So it's like really this positive connotation, positive perspective. But for somebody else who is allergic to bees, for example, like they are deadly afraid of bees, it will be completely different meaning. So different perspective. Same animal, same concept, same thing, but completely different story, completely different meaning, completely different perspective. So we cannot really, you see, there are different levels, there are different perspectives always. So whenever we are observing something, just just ask us ourselves, like, what does that mean for us? What does that mean, for me in this very moment? And the mind is like champion in creating stories, and sometimes these stories are not true stories, because whatever mind creates, it doesn't necessarily come from, I mean, it's not aligned with our heart, what our heart really wants to say. So yeah, like this awareness that whatever we are assuming, or whatever, what kind of conclusions we are doing, we are making, it's through our own filters. So just be as objective as possible and just take it as an experience. And if there is a message, it will definitely show up also in other forms, in other ways. We will not miss out anything.
And I'm kind of curious. There's a lot of talk now, shadow work being like brought up a lot. And I feel like I'm starting to wonder when, you have a dream that it's like so profound. You are like, okay, like you're saying, you remember every detail, this and that. And I can't help wonder if that's the subconscious trying to get the conscious mind to go, hey, we need to look at this shadow work over here. We've been putting it off and we really need to look at it. He's not listening or she's not listening. And they go, dream. Let's put it in a dream. And maybe that'll be the catalyst that'll get them to look at it. And so, do you feel like that ever happens?
Yeah, absolutely it happens. But like I said, I never stress out about what it means. So it's like whatever happens, it's like shit, like now I'm on this mission to explain what does it mean, or to get the answers, because like if there's a message, it's going to show up in different ways. If our subconscious wants to communicate with us, and it is communicating with us, it's not only in one way, but there are different signals. Yeah, and sooner or later we will get it. So yeah, I know a lot of people who are stressing out about, what happened in dreams, or like, oh my God, I was dreaming this, I was dreaming this, I was dreaming this, like that's a bad sign, that's this. And like their life gets complicated because of that. And I don't think that's the main purpose. We should really make our life easier, not more complicated and just like stressing out about things that don't really matter. So yeah,
Right.
it is subconscious, but like it's on us how much significance, like, we want to give it. So
Right. And you mentioned mediumship. And so I'm kind of curious when and how that ability unfolded for you.
mediumship.
It was in the list of topics that you gave me. It said
um
quantum career, mediumship, dreams, astral, paranormal.
okay, yeah. Well, I'm not. Ah, interesting. So I don't see myself as a medium, like, that I can talk to, like directly communicate with other people. I mean, I started channeling light language. So I am kind of bringing something through me, but I'm surrounded with people, yeah, like who are mediums, and I am interested in that. And I think like we are, in essence, we all have disabilities, but it really depends also on our path when they start developing, when they start, showing up. Like with some people, they are more obvious. With some people, they are less obvious. But I think that we are all mediums.
No, I agree. And it's interesting too that you use the term quantum career because we're in an age where we have quantum healing or quantum mechanics or quantum physics. And so it's interesting to think of it as, yeah, making a career at the quantum and quantum entanglement, even. And so when you're looking at like quantum career and kind of guiding people along that, are you looking at the quantum entanglements and every aspect, or are you simply saying, well, what are you interested in? Oh, this, let's look at it this way and try and open them to other experiences within it and to a full picture of it?
So I mentioned that my experience, like I was corporate headhunter. So I was in this recruitment business, and I had a lot of conversation with people who were either trying to up level their career, or looking for a job, or companies who were looking for candidates. And when I was going through my own spiritual awakening, and when, my abilities were enhancing, then I completely shifted everything what I was seeing. And of course, like, one of the things that I really, really realized is that our career is the biggest mirror of our spiritual, journey, or like spiritual path, because nothing triggers a human being more than, visibility. Like, and then if people are not accepted, and then lack of abundance, and lack of recognition, or, all that emotions that people are facing in working environments, because they are not recognized. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I deserve more, blah blah blah. So all that, like, the package of all these emotions, are like all inclusive, in terms of career. So yeah, I see that career is the biggest mirror. So when people are stuck in jobs that they don't want to be, or they're like, oh my god, I don't know, I think I deserve more, like, I'm not being, valued enough, appreciated enough, um then it really is time to go within. And this is where I guide people. And I'm not saying that this is the answer for everybody, because I cannot bring people to levels where they are not ready to go. Yeah. But it's like a lot of, especially on LinkedIn, like, oh my God, I'm looking for a job. I'm sending all this CVs, I don't know, 200, and all rejection, da da da. Yeah, okay, this is happening. But at the same time, if this is happening, I would really recommend you to maybe open space, and like open your mind and just see what is happening on your, personal level, like what is happening on your energetic level. Because when energy gets aligned, everything else gets aligned, and also opportunities start showing up that they were not able to show up before, when mind was closed, when energy field was closed. So when people start opening their perception what is possible, also in terms of career, and, believing what they deserve, yeah, a lot of things can change very, very fast.
No, that's a brilliant way of looking at it because I grew up with everybody always saying, oh, when the time is right, and you trust in the universe, it will unfold and you'll see, and you'll receive everything then. And so it's like, you're like, okay, well, what does that look? How long do I have to wait for that? And it's like, again, like you're saying, you're putting it to something else, someone else, and you're not taking responsibility for your own.
Yeah.
And I feel like, oh, that makes more sense. And man, if I had started doing that sooner, I probably could have skipped out on a few of these, experiences along the way that really didn't make sense. And it's probably that's why, because they weren't supposed to happen, so to speak.
I mean, everything, if something happens, it's supposed to happen. Yeah, because it happened. Like, that was the experience, that was on our path. But yeah, when it comes to career, a lot of people, they do not, they are not aware that they can be creators of their own path. And especially with career, it's difficult because it's connected to survival. It's connected to, like, just some essential funds to survive, to be able to live. Because without money, like, now, like, you cannot really, live in this material world. But I'm not saying, like, oh, you have to burn everything. No, like, I'm really, really guiding people based on my own experiences, because I had very interesting also, my career path. I was like fired 3 times. I quit 2 times. Then in the middle of pandemic, I started my company. I had no idea what I was doing. And I was attracting very, very, very challenging people, also as business partners, as my clients. So it's like I'm not gonna say I failed, but I crash and burn so many times. But I also have risen up, as a phoenix. So I know a thing or two about career empowerment and personal empowerment and jobs, and how to present themselves, how to align energy, how to really show up as who you are, including your inner abilities, including as psychic abilities on CV, and like in this like normal jobs or whatever. Because like when you're hiding yourself, like now, the energy, the collective energy, the frequency that we are in, it's not letting that we hide ourselves anymore. That's not the option anymore.
Right, and this leads me into we kind of been talking around and somewhat about, but you talk about one of the topics was how to live as a human on Earth with high self awareness and deal with everyday challenges. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with because we look at the world and we're looking through the eyes of, okay, I just finished this challenge. Wow, way to go. Oh wait, now there's a new challenge, and this challenge seems bigger than this one. Oh, and it's like it seems like we kind of like drain ourselves because we're like, oh, another challenge. Oh, another one. I haven't even finished this one, and now there's this one. And it's we put ourselves constantly in this mindset of it's like we're almost in a trap of never gonna get out of these challenges, so to speak, in everyday life. And so yeah, how do we rise above and like not get so overwhelmed by the everyday life challenges that arise?
Um, Here I can mention my experience with Bufo, yeah, with sacred medicine Bufo. So when that was in November last year, um, it was crazy. That was really, really profound because it you smoke it, yeah. Like I took like two or three, I think like 2 or 3 hits. So it's like, and instantly in like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, like you're out. So I was like laying on the floor and I started dissolving. And first thing was like my body went into full panic mode. And even though like I had a lot of experiences before, like I wasn't ready for this one. I really wasn't ready for this one because like you literally start dissolving first, like your identity, your body, like nothing, like you are nothing. And first I became one with the floor, then I became one with the room, then I became one with the town, the country, then in the end I became one with the universe. And you have this awareness that you are everything, but you are also nothing. Like there is no Anya, there is no me, there is no nothing, my body, nothing. So when I was this awareness, I was this consciousness, pure consciousness, just floating, up in the air, is very, 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 very strong knowing, or like, awareness came through me. And it was, I'm bored. I don't want to be here. This is boring. I'm not gonna float up here, like it's nothing. This is boring. I want to go back to planet Earth. I know because I chose to be there. I want to experience everything. And it was like, I want to experience, I love walking barefoot on the grass. I love playing with my son. I love hugging, especially like touching, hugging. I love, eating food. I love tasting. I love emotions, like feeling all the emotions. I love incredible nature. I love all that, all experiences that human being can have. And when I came back after like 20 minutes or so, like in my body, I brought back this enormous love for being a human, for life here, because I remember that I chose this. So I'm living now with this awareness. I'm not saying it's like, it's a fairy tale now. But when you have this awareness and shit still happens, it's like, oh my God. And like, with all the spiritual things, and yeah, there are guides. Yeah, there are aliens. Yeah, there's manifestation. Yes, you are creator. And yet, still, we have everyday challenges. So this is like really, really powerful, especially for empaths. Yeah, because we really, really feel a lot. We really perceive everything what is going on. And being in this position, like in this higher higher states of consciousness, or whatever, how you call it, in his material world, very dense energy, where it seems that you have absolutely no control over what is happening, because you see, that it can be better, it can be different, it can be lighter, but it's not. And it's like, why it's not? What can I do? Blah blah blah. So now I just take it as an experience. And for example, one of my friends, Stephen Young, oh my God, he's amazing. That Dr. Stephen Young. So he's an expert also in this hermetic principles of universe and stuff like that. But one of the things that he's saying is that we really, what should we start doing? Seeing everything as just is, not justice, right, wrong, good, bad, not looking for justice in everything, but just is, because everything just is. Yeah, so we don't attach any meaning to it. And sometimes I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I say, okay, now today for 24 hours I'm gonna see my life and everything what will happen. I'm gonna just take it as just this. It's just there. It's just experience. I chose everything. I chose experience. So it's just experience. And I'm, trying to not attach any emotions to it. But it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But yeah, like I'm playing with it. And I'm also, helping people to play on this playground.
One of the things that I think I was kind of hearing and ties into what we were talking about off air before we got started today was you also see the human being as an individual unit, even though it's connected to everything, but it's its own unique essence, its own unique footprint, so to speak. And so I feel like that's why on this earth realm, when we have people that are like, oh, this is how I, did this and I did that, and, examples, like diets or different, like, thought patterns, rewriting thought patterns. Why it works for some and not others is because we are unique. There is no one concept for all. It's all with many concepts. And so that's why I feel like, yeah, people are jumping onto, we call them fads because they come and go. But in reality, it's like, yeah, the body needs what it needs. But when you rob it of that, it's gonna let you know, but your mind is saying, but I need to do this because this is what they said is key to achieving this. And the body is like, no, it's not. Stop listening to them, listen to me. And it seems like that's what happened with your experiences is you became more attuned to the body and hearing what the body needed and wanted to do things. Or am I having more reading more into it than really what's there?
Yeah, it's absolutely important to tune in to your body and not really listen to whatever, people are saying around you, because there is the most important answer. Yeah, like the answers are here, not out there. And you have no idea how many people I met. And, I'm saying this without judgment, but it's funny for me because I see this bigger picture and they don't, like sometimes they don't. And they were like, oh yeah, like I saw, for example, I was on this, I don't know, journey like with ayahuasca or with something else, and I saw this, and I saw that I'm here to save the world, and or I saw that I'm Jesus, or I saw that I'm incarnation of this, I saw that I'm incarnation of this. And I'm like, nice, good for you. And then I said, last week I met somebody that he's also incarnation of this. No, this is not possible, I'm the only one. And I'm like, well, maybe for you you are the only one, but for me you are not, because I know a lot of other people as well. So that's kind of interesting for me. Like I said, no judgment, but it gives me different perspective. So it's like I always, it's like whatever you created, whether that's a method or channeled or whatever, like, or technique or whatever, like, yes, it's special, it's amazing, but it's not the best one in the world. And it's not, like, it's not better than anything else. So I'm always staying like somewhere in between. I'm always staying somewhere, yeah, like keeping this balance between everything. When I have a lot of people around me, it's like, what, like, let me just, give my perspective, and then you decide what do you want to see. But I'm just saying, this is the bigger picture. And then, if you want to see only your picture, it's okay, no problem, no judgment. But this is my perspective, so you can take it or leave it. um so yeah, this is kind of, this is interesting phenomenon that I see in this spiritual, world or realm, that we are, that people are, they are special, of course they are, we are unique, but that doesn't mean that anyone is better than the other.
Right. And it's kind of leading me to a question I'm not sure if you can answer from your experiences or would be comfortable answering, but when people talk about being in tune with their conscious self and their subconscious self and all the nuances therein, how do we tell when they have left consciousness and have entered ego and that their ego is taking over and they're no longer the conscious awareness, it's more of an ego awareness that's being fed?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is that they become aware. Yeah, so like they know the difference. I mean, in the end, everything is the same. Everything is the same. It's just a coin, but like two different sides of the coin. But I always ask them, like, okay, what is your heart saying and what is your mind saying? Yeah. So if you, for example, if you ask your mind, or if I just ask you now, what is your desire? Like, what do you want? What do you want? Your mind will give you answers, like thousand answers. Yeah. Like if I ask you, like, what do you want,
Right.
Michael? Yeah. What is your goal? What do you want? Yeah, that is one question. You don't have to answer it right now. But for example, and I have like an exercise that I can take you through your heart and connect you to your heart intelligence. And when I ask the same question, your heart, it will give you a completely different answer. So you see, this is kind of one way to show them so they experience like how they are feeling when they're answering the question, you know, based on what the mind is saying, and when they're answering question based on what their heart is saying. Because heart, that's always your soul. Yeah, that's like your, you know, subconscious or whatever. But um I try not to judge even when I speak to people. It's not always their ego or whatever, but it's just the level of awareness, you know, because like if they don't have information and experiences that I have, they have absolutely no idea. They cannot have the same perspective as I have, but they have different one because I wasn't living their experiences. You know, they have different filters. I have different filters. We all have filters. So yeah. And I also have ego, you know, like I mean, I'm aware of all parts of myself, and there are a lot of that that I'm still not aware of, but everything that came up to the surface that you know, faced them, I am aware. And, you know, I'm talking a lot with my inner child. Yeah, also, you know, things that show up and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? You know, I thought that this is gone already, but no, it's still here. It's okay. So I think like the most important thing is that we embrace it, that we do not judge it or, you know, say this is bad, this is wrong, this is not how it should be. But just accept it, because like when we accept it, they lose power over us.
That's true, and I've recently come aware of something, and I don't know if it's just my mind trying to complicate things or what, but I look at like people and they're like, yeah, I've done shadow work as an adult. I've done inner child work. And I'm like, okay. Then I look at the situation and I'm like, well, but I never really hear anybody say, oh, I did this inner teenage work or inner young adult work if they're an older adult. And so I always, in my mind, I'm like, do we solve everything as the inner child and adult, and whatever happened as teenage young adult gets fixed from the inner child? Or why do we not ever think we need to look at those times in our lives and heal wounds there?
Yeah, interesting question. I mean, it's all programming. Yeah. All the terms that we are using is just another bullshit, you know? It's just like the terms that we are using. So again, I don't care, like, you know, if I name inner child or shadow work or whatever, you know, somebody said something one time or a few times, and now it's just like this law, you know, it's just like something that people should use. But I don't see it like that. It's really like there are no one size fits all. And the healing, like what is healing anyway, you know? It's just in the end it's just like integrating all parts of ourselves. That is it, like accepting parts of ourselves. Because, you know, Michael, like what was really, at first it was really disturbing for me, you know, to yeah, to recognize that, to be aware of that. But I see myself as a good person, you know, everybody, oh my God, Anya, I love your energy, da da da, whatever. But the thing is, like, I know, I am aware that in my parallel lives I was a different person. You know, I was not, or I am not, you know, all light and love. And each and every one of us, because we are living in duality and we had experiences that, we were doing really, now we can label it, bad things. So all these parts of ourselves are waiting for us to be accepted, for us to embrace them. And it doesn't matter how we call them, it's really like, I mean, I can say, oh my gosh, I was in Egypt, I was a murderer, or I was, I don't know, that, or that. It doesn't matter. It's just the awareness and the readiness that we accept these parts.
Right. And so I'm kind of curious in spiritual metaphysical realm topic, where do you feel with the ego? Are you with your experiences and everything, do you feel like, oh, it's a part of me and it's going to grow and adapt as I move up through, what we call the ascension process with me? Or do you feel like you're going to be leaving it behind? Or do you feel, what do you feel like the ego, what's going to happen with it?
Mm, of course, it's a part of me. So whenever we use the term ego death or whatever, like I mean, in that way, I had like, in 3 years, I had like hundreds and hundreds of ego deaths, like not only one, a lot of them, because I became a different person after every experience, and then a part of me had to be released, I had to let go. Um, so ego, however we call it, yeah, it's a part of me and I embrace it and I know it's there and I don't care, I really don't care if it shows up sometimes. But the most important thing is it doesn't have control over me, because I know who I am in my essence. And of course it shows up, of course I'm like, I also like react. It doesn't, I don't know, like we can go into details in what way ego shows up, but I'm a human being. Yeah, I'm a human being, I'm a mom, like yeah, of course I find myself in situations. It's not only like light and love and blah blah blah, but ego is trying to protect us all the time. And sometimes we find ourselves in situations that we haven't found ourselves yet. So of course, everything what is unknown, it's like it's protecting us. And yeah, I just take it as a part of me. I don't see ego as something bad. I don't really think about ego, if I tell you the truth. Like, I don't care. It's there, it's part of me, but I know who I am. So, like, party on. Like, there are thousands of different parts of Anya. So, yeah, let's have a party.
No, that's brilliant. And I'm a little curious, talking about doing this work and, everything and with how it's unfolded. What would Anya today, would you want to go back and say in what you viewed in your childhood as your hardest day? What would you go back and say to yourself in that moment?
You are amazing, you are incredible, you are here for a reason. Just do not stress out, and love yourself, and everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. But this, that I'm really amazing, unique, fantastic. I'm here for a reason. The world is really, really a better place because I exist, because each and every one of us exists, and I'm never alone. I'm never alone. I would say you are never alone. You are always, always surrounded with love. So yeah, because I always felt alone and I always felt excluded, and I never fit in. But this is our superpower, and especially, when it comes to sensitivity. So it's like, um, I was always, too sensitive. I was always too much. But it's like, no, you're not too much. You're exactly the way you have to be, like, to be perfect. So the world needs me this way.
Very true, and I love that. And we talked about, you said, aliens existing and everything. I'm kind of curious with all your experiences if you've come across the term like star seed or hybrid, and what your thoughts around that is. Like, do you feel like you are, or do you feel like you don't know, you don't have enough to answer that?
Well, again, starseed is just a term. Yeah, like we created this term and like we gave it a meaning. But okay, let's use the word starseed. Yes, and because I know, because I saw myself on different planet, I know that I'm not from here. I literally saw a spaceship, also in my, in my altered states of consciousness journeys. And so, one time, like when I was connecting to my heart, I was pulled out of my body and I ended up on a spaceship as well. When I started channeling light language, I really didn't understand what was happening, and then just message, "Okay, you don't have to understand, but just, you are a channel for this, and just share it, just share it." So I know that I'm not I am from different planet. I actually, one of the planets that is really, really strongly connected to me is Sirius B. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot, to talk about this, and I'm meeting so many also star seeds, all over the world. Now we are attracting each other, into our energy fields. It's so amazing when we start remembering, recognizing each other. Yeah, and it's beautiful. So in terms of star seeds and aliens, and yes, of course, I say it's real because I experienced that, but it goes way deeper, and it's much, much more than only these two terms.
Right, I agree. And I was going to ask you about astral traveling, and you mentioned being on other worlds, and so obviously you've gone off world, so to speak, as we would say. But instead, I'm going to ask, of all your traveling, in the astral realm, what experience or experiences that you had left the biggest impact and was like the most surprising to you? Like when you got where you were going, you're like, whoa, this this kind of place exists? What? Like what surprised you the most with the astral?
Yeah, I had a lot of these experiences, and then it was a little bit too much. So I really, like, I always had a lot of problems. You see, I didn't understand, but then when I was kind of, becoming more and more aware of these processes, I realized that I was not grounded. I was like all the time, my crown chakra was like wide open, and like I was always connected, to galactic energies and stuff. But I had a lot of problems with grounding. And now in last 2 years, it's really about grounding and embodiment for me. So now I'm like, really, like I know, and it's such a different experience. And even now when I say, okay, astral traveling or whatever, it's like I don't really surrender, but it's like, okay, it's just like, okay, yeah, this happened. Like, and before I was like, oh my God, like I was really into it, and I wanted more, I wanted more, I wanted more. And yeah, one of the things, for example, when I was pulled out of my body and I, found myself on this spaceship on like a medical table, but I wasn't afraid. Like I didn't see the beings. I know that there were beings like next to me. I didn't see them. I felt them and they were doing something, but I wasn't afraid. It was just like a kind of upgrade or whatever. And my energy, like what I remember was, really? Now you're doing this now? I don't have time. Come on, leave me alone now. Like, why did you have to pull me up now? So it's like this always when I find myself unexpectedly in some other realm without plant medicines or whatever, just so randomly in meditation or whatever. It's usually like that. Come on, like a lot of humor, a lot of sarcasm. Like this is kind of my energy. And uh I don't know, what can I maybe, yeah, one time I really found myself on this planet with a lot of water. And I saw some crazy beings walking around. Like I said, I was never afraid. It was never like that. It's just like I found myself there, just like, okay, yeah, we want to show you, this exists. Okay, cool. That's it. Let's go to the next one.
No,
But yeah,
that's really cool. That's really cool. And we have about 7 minutes left. And I
cool.
know you have another appointment. So, in respect to that timing, what do you have coming up that you would like to promote, or do you have any books that you'd like to promote?
So thank you for asking. Yeah, first of all, oh my God, I would really like to share information about my school community, Beautiful Badass Souls. So everything what I shared today, like we are also sharing there, but it's not like that I'm teaching anything, because I see every individual is, powerful being, special creator, and we are teaching each other. Yeah, I don't position myself as like, oh my God, now I know more than you. Yeah, but it's like I know what I'm doing. Like I'm really, really good at creating spaces where people get connected, like on a deeper level, and also that to co-create something, because I really like to create spaces for co-creation and for people to start showing up, because a lot of people, they're like, okay, I have nothing to show, I'm not special, I don't even know, I know that I would like to share something with the world, but I don't know what. Or it's like, this is the place. Yeah, you can show up. I have a podcast there which is called Spark of Inspiration, and you can get first time, like if you have never shown up yourself, like you can do it there. And then I share it also on my YouTube, and my LinkedIn. And so yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for really enhancing visibility. Amazing people are there, visionaries, really, really, really powerful individuals who are already creating things, who really support my mission as well. So Beautiful Badass Souls, yeah, this is for empaths. Like I said, it's like where people can really come together and they feel like cosmic superstars, because I love to create stages for people to shine. This is one thing. And what I would also mention is high five free spirit soul activations. So after my San Pedro journey, so that was last year, somewhere in March or April, my throat chakra got activated and I started channeling these amazing, amazing activations, like really empowering, a lot of fire. And it also consists of, I call it fuck frequency. So FUCK, it's free, unapologetic, creative knowing. And it's like 7 minutes long activation. And they also, every activation also have five guidelines, very practical, very grounded guidelines that you can use every single day, at every moment. And these are not meditations. They are not meditations. So like people, they shouldn't listen to them before they go to sleep, but they activate like whenever they are going through something, because this is also the reflection of my path. And when I started recording them, it was like I ended up in 48. So I created this library of 48 activation on different topics: visibility, also people pleasing, also I don't know, like relationship with mom, parents, whatever, then lack, abundance, like all that, all that stuff. It's actually 48 activations, really, really powerful, that I'm also using myself. I'm getting high on my own supply, and a lot of people who are using it, they are really, really, reporting that it's amazing, it's changing, that like something activated in them, whether that's extra abilities or ideas or just courage in general. So yeah, you can also check it out. It's I think I sent you the link, and it's one is for free. So number 33, it's I think like believe in yourself or something like that in times of uncertainty, like really powerful activation that I would suggest everyone to listen. And if they like it, of course they can purchase the whole library. And then I also have two free, like mini audio master classes. So living out loud, permission to be too much, and rejection resilience. This is like what I also created in that period of time, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's kind of an intro in my energy. So whoever listened to this and they feel my energy, it's like, oh my god, I want more. I want to work with Anya. Yeah, that's kind of the first step where I invite them to. So
No, that's very cool. And I just went and grabbed your website so I can
yeah,
scroll it along the bottom of
perfect.
the
Thank you.
screen. It's in the bio, but this way you can see it too. And I have to say, in transparency, when I came across you on LinkedIn and I saw the badass all like bright and front and center, I was like, I need to know about this. This is just drawing me in. This just sounds so cool. And so yeah, so I love the beautiful badass souls the title because it's like it's so perfect. It's so
It is.
beautiful, and I want to say thank you for your time and thank you so much for being a guest on this show. And I
Thank you
want to
for
leave.
having me. I hope that you also got something out of it, because it was, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, I did, and what I want to leave you with is a message of from my heart and the heart of my shows to you. Thank you for what you're doing for humanity. Thank you for being your authentic, true self. And thank you for bringing you to this world.
Thank you. Beautiful, badass soul, Michael. Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Keep on shining. Thank you.
Yes, you too. And do follow along with Anya and follow along with me because you never know when she'll be popping back on. And hopefully, we'll have her on as a guest again and continue this conversation. And until then, we are going to say good afternoon to everyone. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.